Yo, welcome to Cherokee Now. Today, I'm excited to have Principal Chief Richard Sneed with me and Human Resources Secretary Tara Reed joining the show. Welcome to the show, you guys.
Hi, Chris.
Thanks.
So, we've got some very exciting news for the community and the EBCI tribal employees, especially to discuss today. Tell me a little bit about the recent tribal council history with removing the tribal personnel policy from the code, and what was the intent of that, and what we're going to do with that moving forward.
Well, one of the things that we wanted to do was to be able to have flexibility with the policy, and I was really grateful that when we had the work session on this and spoke with tribal council about the need to be able to amend policy on an as-needed basis. The way it was currently written in the law, you could not do it in an election year. And as Vice Chairman Wolf brought up, if you want to get real technical, it was October of a non-election year. Really would have been the only time, if somebody wanted to push the issue, would have been the only time to amend the policy. And we just felt that, and because of that, it hadn't been amended since 2012.
Right.
So we just needed the ability to be able to adjust on an as-needed basis.
Tara, how did you feel about the existing personnel policy? Were there some changes that needed to be made?
There is a lot of changes that needed to be made, and I'm appreciative that council and the chief and vice chief worked together collectively to get that changed so that we can make these. It's going to only benefit the employees of the EBCI.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited about these changes.
Absolutely. Well, I'm just going to walk down through some of them, and you guys can explain kind of the intent and then some of the technical features of what each of them mean. And the first one I'll start with employees can donate sick leave to other employees who are on TFML. Tell me a little bit about the intent of that, Chief.
Sure. So, we had a lot of employees that had requested this. First of all, let me say this: we're a community, we're a family, and one thing that our community does really well is when there's a need in the community, when someone's suffering, when somebody's sick, when there's a death in the family, etc. We rally around one another.
Right.
And this was something that employees had asked my office about, had spoken to HR about. Hey, if one of my coworkers, they get sick and they've used up all their sick leave, can I donate some leave to them?
Right.
And the way the policy was, they couldn't. So we just wanted to give our employees the ability to do that.
Absolutely. So how will that work, Tara, as far as the donation part of it?
So, for example, we have an employee that's out on sick leave or TFML. They have to be out on TFML. We can donate, anybody can donate up to 4 hours, increments of 4 hours, as much as they would like to that individual. But they have to keep 120 hours in their sick leave bank in order to do that, just in case they need those hours to cover themselves.
Okay, so if someone has 160 hours, they can donate up to 40 of that.
Correct.
To someone on this particular need.
Correct.
Okay, well, exciting. That's good for folks out there that are struggling with especially with the FML leave, to be able to have that backup. Number 2, employees can sell back up to 80 hours of annual leave per year. Tell me a little bit about that intent.
So the intent there was that we have some employees that are very frugal with their leave. They don't take a lot of leave. They're at work every day doing their job, so that they don't have to if an expense comes up, the transmission goes out on the vehicle,
right,
and it's going to be a $2,000 expense. They don't have to borrow the money. They can just sell some leave back and use that money on an as-needed basis. So we just wanted to give flexibility to the employees who have a bank of leave.
Absolutely. Tara, how will that work as far as folks being able to actually sell that back?
So what this actual piece of it will be, you have to, again, keep 120 hours in your annual leave bank.
Okay.
You can do it twice a year, between, I think it's September the 1st through October the 1st.
Okay.
I think. You can do it in increments of 8 hours, but it can be up to 40 hours 2 times per year.
Okay.
So if you sell 8 hours your first time, that's your first time.
Okay.
The second time it could be, 16 hours. That's your second time. So it's only 2 times per year.
And is it only in that window of time to sell it?
Yes, because we're working on the budget, so we have to make sure that those budget amendments are taken care of.
Gotcha.
For those.
Okay.
So there's 1 month that is not. It's a blackout period.
Right,
for
so
that.
the month of September is blacked out.
Correct.
So any other months you can do that. So it's actually
October
1st to September 1st.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not September 1st, October 1st, because that would only give you 30,
I was going to say, that seems like a 30-day window to have to sell it twice. That'd be awkward. Okay, so you have 11-month window to
Correct.
sell it twice.
Twice.
You have to
Up
maintain
to 40
120, and you can do up to 80 hours total?
It's 80 hours total, yes.
Correct. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Good deal. Number 3, corrective actions are removed from an employee's active file 1 year after receiving the action, and the action cannot be used in any future corrective actions.
Right.
Talk about that one, Chief.
So the purpose of this was that and again, let me state that corrective action to me and my philosophy on corrective action is not that it's necessarily punitive, although it can be. The purpose of corrective action is just that. It's to bring correction to a behavior,
Right.
to say to the employee, look, this is what our expectation is, but here's where you're at, and so this is the action we're taking in order for you to be able to perform at your best for your own sake and for the sake of the department.
Right.
When those actions occur, if you have no further incidents in a 12-month period, well, then the corrective action did exactly what it was supposed to do. It corrected that
the
behavior.
problem.
That shouldn't be able to be used against you 24 months later when it's time for a promotion, or if you're being considered for a promotion or a transfer or anything else. So at the end of the 12-month period, it would no longer show up in your file. Now, I'll let Tara speak about, we do have to keep records for 7 years. So.
Okay. How does that work, Tara?
So we'll keep it for 7 years, just for us to refer back to for things such as sexual harassment, or if there's termination for alcohol, someone comes in and they are under the influence.
Okay.
Things such as that we will keep. However, sometimes people grow up, and we shouldn't be holding against them something that happened 7,
Right,
10 years
right.
ago. It should be there for a year in their file,
And then
and
it
that's what
falls
we can
out.
refer back to, correct?
Absolutely. Well, that's good. I'm sure that'll help a lot of folks out as they're trying to progress through the system, which is what we're building,
Correct.
is a system where we can grow up in it and learning that. You don't know everything right out the gate, but we're learning things, and the corrective actions are essential for correcting the problem, as you'd
Well,
mentioned.
and to your point, that what our focus really is developing our people.
Right.
We want to develop, train, and retain
Right.
our employees.
Right.
So that's our main objective.
Good deal. Number 4, a new social networking policy detailing appropriate use of social media. Let's talk about that
All right,
one.
this one was interesting because, and this is really one that lends itself to the need to be able to amend policy on an as-needed basis.
Right.
So clearly back in 2012, around here especially, the internet, I don't want to say it was in its infancy, but certainly everybody wasn't as well connected. And now with smartphones and 3G and 4G coverage in our region, it's something we have to address.
Right.
Now, interestingly enough, this is one of those issues that we don't have anything really concrete where we can say you can't do this, because it is a free speech issue.
Right.
So this particular policy is actually more guidelines. It's offering direction to our employees, and really it's common sense.
Okay.
It really is like you don't speak on behalf of the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians. If this is your opinion, that's your opinion.
Right.
But don't suppose to speak on behalf of your department or on behalf of the tribe, because we're going to run into some issues there.
Absolutely. So how will that roll out, Tara? Is there an enforcement piece to that, or?
It's just a part of the personnel policy.
Okay.
Sometimes we tend to, as individuals and as people, as humans, we tend to go home and carry things home, and sometimes social media is the way to vent.
Right.
It's just common sense.
Will supervisors and managers and directors kind of dictate to their employees how that works, what kind of leniency they have with it, when to use it, when it's acceptable?
Well, I think all of those things are going to have to be handled on a case-by-case
Right.
basis. Again, we're dealing with human beings.
Yeah.
Each set of circumstances is going to be very unique. We wanted to give a lot of latitude with this policy, so again, it's more informative
Right.
and instructive than anything else. It's just saying, guys, look, here's some common sense guidelines to follow when you're on social media. So again, it's more informative than
Right.
anything else.
And by no means trying to be restrictive to keep
Right.
folks out of it.
Just being
because
respectful.
Being responsible
Of-
and
of the
respectful.
East.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Of the processes. Absolutely. Okay, number 5, the notification to a supervisor regarding alcohol and drug-related charges. What is some of the intent behind this? Now, do you want me to read the rest of this? That's been changed to include that you notify your supervisor of any criminal charges by the close of business the following business day after the charge was received.
Right. So the purpose of amending this was that the way the policy was written previously, it said within 24 hours. Okay, so if, let's say you had an incident, and I guess let me preface it by saying you're innocent until proven guilty.
Correct.
If you're charged with something, you're simply charged.
Right.
And the way the policy was written before, you had to notify your direct supervisor within 24 hours. Well, if that happens on a Friday or on
Right.
a Saturday, it may be difficult or impossible for you to get in touch with your supervisor within 24 hours.
Right.
So technically, that could turn punitive at work if you didn't, abide by the
Correct.
policy. So what this does, let's hypothetically say something happens on Friday or Saturday, you would have until the close of business on Monday to report to your supervisor. If you didn't do it by then you're out of compliance with the policy.
So this is really just to clean it up and,
Yes.
and give it a little bit more guidelines as far as where things have to be reported at.
Correct.
Make it more fair for everybody.
Well, and again, and the intent being that we're looking out for the well-being of the employee.
Right.
We don't want somebody to have a charge and then you have a supervisor say, well, you didn't report it within 24 hours, and so you're out of compliance with the policy. This is just putting another protection in for the employee to say, you've got until the close of business on the next business day.
Right.
So.
Okay, absolutely. Number 6, vacant employment positions will now be posted internally within the EBCI for 7 days. If there are no qualified applicants, they will be posted externally for 7 days online and in local publications.
This is probably my favorite of all the policy changes. So one of the things that we want to do is we want to focus on, and this was something when Tara came on board as the HR secretary, one of the first things she brought to my attention was that we really needed to focus on promoting from within.
Right.
And so what we're doing is we're giving our established tribal employees the opportunity to apply for jobs first before we put it out to the general public.
Right.
So if a position opens up within the tribe, we will advertise it in-house first for 7 days, and that will give tribal employees the first shot at applying for the position.
Absolutely.
The other piece of that is, right now, our current policy states that we have to advertise it for 10 days, and if there's a holiday in there, it adds another day on top of that. So
Okay.
you'd say 2.5 weeks for advertisements. This is also going to cut down on how long it takes to fill a position.
Right.
But this is, again, we've created these policy changes to make it beneficial to our employees, and I think this is one of the great ones that we are here to promote from within.
Right.
And it's very beneficial to our employees.
It has to be discouraging to an employee that's worked for 10, 12 years and a supervisor position comes open and they're thinking, I'm ready for my moment, and then somebody completely from the outside comes in and snags it without any experience or minimal experience. And that's good to see that now our tribal employees are going to be rewarded almost with the ability to have that progression up the chain that was always intended.
Right.
So that's good. Thank you for that.
Well, I think what it does is it demonstrates to our commitment, this administration's commitment to our employees. And again, we want to develop our people, promote from within and retain.
Right.
So.
Right. Okay. So that's all 6 of the major changes right now. What's coming next?
That's a surprise.
No, I don't want to talk about it. But you've got some more coming down the road.
We have more coming. The policy itself, again, because it hasn't been amended since 2012, there are a lot of things that need to be updated.
Right.
And so there'll be some changes coming that are just a few, maybe a phrase here,
Right.
technical changes that really don't do much except clean up the language and bring clarity. I'll give you an example of one. So the veterans preference. Okay. So the way that policy is written, it's kind of confusing.
Right.
Because the way it's written now, it says if there are 2 enrolled member applicants who are minimally qualified and they are equally qualified, which is kind of contradictory. So which one is it?
Right.
So we're just going to clean the language up that says if there are 2 enrolled member candidates who are equally qualified, then preference will be given to the veteran.
Absolutely.
The enrolled member veteran. So it just cleans up the language to say, if this situation occurs where
This
you
is
have
the
2
direction
two equally qualified enrolled member candidates, and one of them is a veteran, that will trigger the veteran's preference, and the veteran will get the position.
Absolutely.
Just cleaning the language up so everybody understands.
Good.
So there's no confusion.
Absolutely. Well, Tara, if folks have questions about what we've discussed today, how can they get in touch with you or your department?
They can contact me at 359-6390 or 736-5859. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that they may have. All of these forms that go with the annual leave sellback, the sick leave donation, those forms will be uploaded by Friday on CWeb, and we will send out notifications so that employees can start benefiting from these policy changes.
Excellent.
So any questions, just give me a call.
All right. Well, any more updates that come down the pipe, let's get on. Let's discuss it with the public, and we'll move on from there. We appreciate all the work from you guys on this, though. This is great. That'll be it for today. If you're watching at home and would like to comment on the show or ask any questions regarding what we've discussed today, please comment on our EBCI Cherokee Now Facebook page at facebook.com/Cherokee Now. We'll see you again very soon. David Dagahoyu.